What's going on, everybody? I'm Shy and this is the Dollar Tree. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Yes. All right, so let's get right to it. So we're gonna be taking a look at the previous updates on the previous video for Swipe and Algorand. We're also gonna take a look at the update on Uniswap because I did draw a little something here and I'm gonna redo it. But the overall premise of this video was Yearn Finance. Shout out to the person who asked me in the comment section about Yearn Finance. And the thing is, Yearn Finance is very interesting, and it's also nothing out of the ordinary that I've already stated. When these coins come out, there's a hype cycle. The hype cycle is they're going to run up, and depending on when they come out, depending on how hard they're going to get hit by the direction of the market. What do I mean by this? If the coins are dropped during a bear cycle where the market is just continually going down, it's going to have a nice pump, and then it's going to flow like rainfall, just down, down, down. And I gave you examples of this in the previous video. So, you know, not the most popular video, but I think that's important for you guys to understand so that you don't take risks on saying that you're going to get into a lot of these new coins because you like the project, you like the concept, you like what they're working on. When it comes to the market, they don't care. The market doesn't. Technical analysis doesn't care about your news in most cases. In some cases it does, but there have to be other correlating factors for that news to help the price. And a lot of times, if the news or whatever else gives it a pump, it's not going to matter for the overall direction of the price. And Yearn Finance and a lot of these coins that have come out, reserve rights, they're showing that things are just not going to keep going up. But I'm not going to rant. Let's go ahead and take a look at Yearn Finance, because Yearn Finance, one, I guess in another video I'll take it at number 2, but I guess he's asking my opinion on Yearn Finance 1. So he wants to know my opinion on Yearn Finance 1. Is it a good time to invest and Swipe? Okay. No. And yes. See, in the last video, which a lot of people chose not to watch, which is unfortunate, I made an exact distinction between why these coins come out and they dump and they eventually starts to flow with the rest of the market and they'll have their cycle. Because that's exactly what these coins do. Uni is a good example of that, but I'm going to get to Uni. Let me finish with Yearn Finance. So right now I'm going to throw up on the screen some screenshots of Yearn Finance. And the first thing that caught my eye when I opened up this chart was this. A hellacious head and shoulders on the daily. Now, I got it a little lopsided a little bit. I didn't do it. I was doing it on the Wix or whatever the case may be. But a hellacious head and shoulders. Ridiculous. Now, again, when these coins come out, they run up. They have the hype cycle, and then the next thing you know, now, when is it a good time to buy Yearn Finance? To be honest with you, just like Uni, there's not enough on this chart. It's not enough on any of these charts above probably the 8-hour, which is only going to get you within a few days, 2 to 5 days, to really determine the overall direction of the coin. And the issue with this is why you wait for price discovery and you wait for the trend in the market. Trend in the market. Same thing I stated in the Uni video, which I'm going to be updating shortly, is these coins, depending on when they come out, to finish what I said previously, they're going to follow the hype cycle. So if the hype cycle is bullish, that's what it's following. If it's overall bearish, it's going to follow bearish. So these coins now that we're kind of like in a bit of a downturn, you're going to see the downturn. Uni came out, ran up, hype. Okay, the overall market is bearish. Once the bots and everything start to kick into the market, it's going to follow what the rest of the market is doing. For the most part, it's gonna develop and create its own cycle. All right. So now with that being said, it's important to understand that if you want to get into these coins, you have to slowly scale in. We're talking about a scaling in strategy, and the reality of it is, in the previous video, I gave you screenshots of how these coins, when they come out, I think it was a Uni video, either or, watch both. They'll have a nice run up, and then you'll see a huge downturn. Let's take a look at the weekly for Yearn Finance. And now taking a look at this weekly, you see the same thing, man. You see this green wick. I'm gonna put it up here on the screen for you guys. You see this long green wick run up, hype, and then what do you see? The same thing I showed you in the previous video on a lot of those other coins. You see it pull down with the rest of the market. Here's a great example. Whether or not you need to contemplate the decision of investing in these new coins and coins like Yearn Finance 1 and 2 is largely dependent on the direction of the overall market and the sentiment of the overall market. So let's go back to this. Now, you try and see small recoveries in this, but it's still bearish sentiment overall in the market. Now, let's just say we continue bearish. You know what's going to happen. It's going to come all the way back down. The same thing it did with Uni. Now, in all fairness, Uni has recently bounced from an oversold bounce. But is that anything I didn't explain already? It breaks down before it breaks up. And with the minimal information on the chart, if you look left, transitioning to Uni. Okay, before I transition to Uni, let me finish with finance. Okay, getting ahead of myself here. So in other words, to answer your question, what do I think about Yearn Finance? I think Yearn Finance, decentralized finance, I think it's great for what it is, but it's still a lot to go as far as the buildup of the coin, overall sentiment in the market. If you're asking about the project, it's a great project. It's a great idea. It's something new to the market. It's very exciting. A low amount of coins. You get a nice increase in price. The project is great, but you have to understand that you have to separate the project and the product and the company from the trading markets, right? Because they're two different things. A lot of times, the people who are holding these coins in charge of these companies or running these companies, they're going to hold long term. In many cases, they're going to hold long term. So, and the people who are investing, the investors and the traders, they're going to follow technical analysis in the market. So if they get in early, they're going to look to sell off and secure as many profits as possible. So separate the two. And when separating the two, you'll come to the decision that, okay, investing in this is going to be dependent on the market sentiment. Bullish, bearish, oversold bounces for entry. So if you want to invest, learn basic technical analysis and when to invest. And I know that's probably not the answer you're looking for. You probably want a direct answer like, oh, invest when it goes down to here. But again, there's so little on this chart that it's hard to determine that per se. But if you want to hit anyway, okay, I'll give you something, not financial advice. Let's go back to the daily. And if the bearish sentiment continues and it drops with Bitcoin, when the eventual pullback of Bitcoin comes to fill that 9,600 gap, I mean, it could be now, it could be not. Bitcoin could go put in new all-time highs and beyond and then come down to fill that gap. You never know. And therein lies the problem. You don't just look to get in because you're in love with the project, the company, and the idea of the coin. You get in from an investment standpoint because you want to maximize the growth in your dollar. And I think you would appreciate that, even though it's not necessarily the answer you like. But if you'd like to get in anyway, you'll see down here where the price is at. Now you look left of that, you'll see a nice little flag and run up in Yearn Finance on the daily. I'm gonna draw a circle around it here. If you want to get in at the bottom of this area, pretty much where it wicked at, let's take a look over here where it wicked, that green wick. Cool, that's where you should have gotten in at the most recent bounce. That probably would have been your first buy-in and your highest buy-in, because more downside is very, very possible. Your second will be at the very bottom, introductory price. Let's take a look at over here in the Zoom for the introductory price. That'll be your second entry, okay? I don't want this video to go too long, but not financial advice. But if you want to get in that bad, those are the opportunities that you look for. Let the market tell you when to invest. Don't let your mind and your emotions and your liking of a coin or project or great news about it determine that. Because if you're not a trader overall, you're not going to understand how to get in and get out without being a little bit depressed about the overall performance of the coin when you buy at a higher price. Now let's switch over to Uni real quick, and then I'll go into Swipe, because someone he also asked me about Swipe. Now if you're watching this video, I did a video on Algorand and Swipe. watch that video first, but I'm gonna come back around. Let's go to Uni, since Uni is a very popular. Okay, so I'm gonna be looking at this chart. So I recently drew this little chart on Uni or whatever. It started out as a triangle-ish looking thing, and if you go watch that video, nothing I said has been disproven to this point. Even if it was to go to break higher, it would have to break lower first. That's how this plays out 70% of the time or more. It's gonna break lower and then bounce higher. It's gonna flush out those stop losses and then come higher. So as you can see, for this most recent thing that I drew, that I hinted on last video, it broke lower, bounced around that $2.50 area, around that introductory price. The same thing I said about Yearn Finance. Those are your pretty much, I didn't get in on the first pump. I might want to get in on the second pump. You know, sorry, I don't do, you know, daily videos that often. You know, as the channel grows, I'll be more active to get you guys ahead of the ball on this, but still a great opportunity, even if not ahead. Now you see it broke lower, oversold, bounce, and then came higher right in this section right here. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm going to redraw this triangle just a little bit. Since it got rejected at that $3.11, I'm going to readjust the triangle for that. Okay, stretched out up here on the chart. This is the update from what I drew. You know, it broke lower, whatever the case may be. I said in the comment section of a video, a bullish turn for me. Ideally for Uniswap is to break above 424 and hold break above 414 and hold 424. The great thing about coins coming out during a time where, you know, there's a bullish sentiment, it's bullish atmosphere, is that they won't have as much of a dump early on in the price as a lot of the other coins that I showed in the previous video, how they just fall off a cliff because they've been introduced right during that hype cycle run up, and then next thing you know, bearish cycle down. That's why a lot of those coins, I did a video on it, are down 6,000, 10,000, 12,000%. And if they have not adjusted to the market, increased and improved their products or services, you know, or gotten with the flow, or gotten with DeFi or IC or whatever was popping at the time in cryptocurrency, they taking a major hit. So this is the new adjustment now. Let's take a look at it. And it just got rejected here. If it breaks out and goes above, you know, if Bitcoin stays bullish, because that's what happened. Bitcoin just ran up to 10,900. What did I say? We want to see the coins kind of recover a little bit. You know, some coins aren't going to recover as well. Some coins are. But let's take a look at this. Let's take note of this. Let's see if it can break above this upper trend line of this kind of falling triangle, falling wedge triangle, and look for a retest. You know, of course, come down and retest the upper line if you decide you want to take out a trade on that. Not financial advice. I'm just discussing what I see right now. But overall, scaling into Uni, I would say your first buy-in, your first entry should have probably been around that right after it dumped and bounced that 250 area. Honestly, I would probably get out right now. I don't know. Too much uncertainty, and I firmly believe there's way more downside coming for the rest of these coins. Much more downside, especially if Bitcoin decides to pull back. Now let's switch over to Swipe. Let's answer this question about Swipe. Swipe hasn't done anything out of the ordinary that I already discussed. Now I'm gonna take a zoomed out screenshot and put it up here on the screen for you guys about Swipe. Watch that first video from about a week ago about Algorand and Swipe. Algorand was a good intermediate entry and sell off. Of course, learn basic technical analysis, so you would have seen the turn in the market. You would have had your alert set to sell off. And then I said Swipe wasn't really good. It had much more downside. It already had its run up. And I also said in that video, if you're looking for entry, look at it down at that bounce area. And as you can see on this screenshot that I put up on the screen for you guys, what happened? It came down and bounced in that area, okay? Don't buy above that. Don't buy above that. Get that first order fill. So in the eventual pullback for Bitcoin, if Swipe comes back and respect that lower trend line, you can get back in at that lower trend line. If Bitcoin continues lower, that will initiate your accumulation zone. I'm giving away too much. That should be for the Patreon. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you know when we upload a new video, all right? And be ready for that Patreon when I put it out. So, I mean, it's not much to discuss here. I've pretty much already drawn it out. Same as Algorand. Algorand was the same thing. You want to get in at that 27 cents. And that 27 cents bounce also happened on Algorand. Let me put the screenshot back up here for you guys for Algorand. Nothing really changed over the last week and a half, about week and a half, as far as, you know, entry points for these coins are concerned. Now, Bitcoin is pumped. And like I stated for the Bitcoin, what am I expecting from Bitcoin? I want to see Algorand come up and retest that 35 cents. I stated this. Hopefully it can move with Bitcoin or a little bit alongside Bitcoin up and sideways to retest that, so that when Bitcoins decide to pull back hard, it will likely find strong support at 27, where you can enter again before continuing lower, where you can potentially get more money into the market for more gains. All right, guys. So that's all I got for the video today. Somebody asked me in the comment section about KAVA. I will talk about KAVA in the next video, but you know, coins like KAVA, reserve rights, and a few others, they benefit from that market run up, man. And I'll touch on it in the next video, but I'll take a look at KAVA as well. KAVA came in putting in new all-time highs and everything else, and man, it's a few things I want to say about that. You can follow us on Instagram at TheDollarTree. You can follow me on Instagram at I'm Leo Calm. You can follow, you know, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'm Leo Calm. Same thing, CALM. And this is very interesting, man. You know, I don't want this video to go too long. If you're hanging out this long, let's look a little deeper into this KAVA situation, because you're looking at now a double bottom, right? The same thing like Algorand. You're looking at a double bottom and a slightly higher high on Algorand and SXP. Where do we go from here? Is this the sign of the trend reversal? You can kind of say yes for the altcoins, but then again, you kind of have to say no as well. Why? Bitcoin still has that cloud over its head, which is the futures gap. And if that futures, as long as that futures gap remains unfilled and lingers over Bitcoin's head, you're going to be looking at downside. So any type of entry in these areas of these altcoins, I would be remiss if I didn't mention considering getting out once you get a certain amount of gains from that entry point. But again, if you're not this day trader in, out, buy, sell, which is very difficult to start and maintain effectively and efficiently, you're just going to want to look at, like I said before, that double bottom entry zone, those entry points, and start in an accumulation zone. All right. Now, in the Patreon, I will elaborate more about accumulation zones and trade strategies and entry points and mid markets and everything else. I will elaborate on that. So make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, because I'm starting the Patreon at 1,000 subscribers. However, if the views of the more not so interesting popular videos start to pick up over time, I would be more likely to consider starting the Patreon at about 500 subscribers, which we're not that far away from. So next week, I'm probably going to look to do influx of videos, crypto, maybe not crypto related, but money and investing related. And I want to do the videos back to back to back. All right. Hit up a pretty popular video. Second video will probably be something intermediate. And then another video focusing around just the markets and the news going on around. So next video, stick around for that, guys. I'm also going to cover a little bit of news in that as well, and talk a little bit more probably about, you know, what we can expect for the markets toward the end of the year and going into the new year. I'm Shy. This is the Dollar Tree. Shout out to all the new subscribers. Yes. Appreciate everybody for watching. Yes. Put a 1 in the chat if you're a new subscriber and you're watching this video. Much appreciated for all you guys. And I'll see you guys in the next video.